G'day sir, this is Shane Cutmore reporting back in regards to my appointment with Donald. Now, I will cut straight to the chase. Now, Donald expressed a desire to find a business structure that was simple and easy to maintain, that would give a single person the overall control of running the business. So this, to me, immediately ruled out public companies, it ruled out partnerships, it also ruled out associations. Now, in terms of scale, Donald was quite adamant that he intends to keep his business operating at a small scale. He also expressed no real intention to expand the business. In fact, he expressed the view that he only intends to have himself under his employ. And instead, the only real growth that he expressed was that his desire to build the intangible assets of his company, the reputation and the social capital, which is built through the quality of his work and the interaction with his clients. Now, another thing that Donald did express was the importance of finding a structure that would provide his assets, provide protection to his personal assets, namely his house. So from the information acquired from Donald and through my research, I've found two possible business structures that may be of benefit to Donald's business intentions. Now, first is the sole trader business model. Second is the small proprietary company. Now, to the sole trader model, under this particular model, it is quite simplistic in terms of setting up, and it is easy to maintain. And as the name suggests, it's geared towards a single individual running the business. For Donald, in this particular structure, he'd be able to run the business on his own terms, and he would only be regulated by the contracts that his business entered into, and he would also have to comply with the Australian Consumer Law, as well as to meet his accreditation requirements as to being a mediator, as well as a registered psychologist. Now, the negative aspect of the sole trader structure, in relative to Donald's aspirations, is that the factor of unlimited liability. Now, unlimited liability under the sole trader structure would see that the individual and the business that he would run are indistinguishable. They are indistinct, and therefore, if the sole trader were to take an unfortunate turn in the future and happen to come into debt and was unable to repay, the creditors would have full access to the personal assets of the individual behind the sole, operating the sole trader business. Now, from this information alone, I suspect that Donald would choose not to pursue this path at all, given that he's expressed most adamantly to have his personal assets protected. Now, additionally to that, I would also not recommend that Donald pursue the sole trader business structure for this very same reason. Now, moving on to the small proprietary company. Now, this particular structure provides two things that the sole trader cannot, and this is to the benefit of Donald. It provides limited liability, and it provides a corporate shield, which is a result of the separate legal identity principle as outlined in the Salomon case, which I will detail in a few moments. Additionally, although I believe that this structure aligns well with Donald's interests, he would be able to satisfy all the requirements to fit into this particular bracket. As I stated earlier, from what Donald has intimated, he does not intend to have any more than 50 people under his employ. Now, his holding assets, liquid or otherwise, I feel it's unlikely that they will exceed the monetary figures that are provided in section 45A, subsection 2, paragraphs A and B. So he would fit quite well within this particular category. Now, in terms of overall control and being autonomous, under this structure, Donald would be able to maintain control of the company, he would have the final say in the decision making. The minimum requirements as to this particular structure would require one director and one member. Now, Donald could be the director. Now, Donald could also assume the role as the sole member. Now, unlike a public company, there is no requirement here for a company secretary. Now, Donald would also meet the relevant criteria for being a director. He's over 18 years of age. He's a resident of Australia. Additionally, he's not been bankrupt. He's not been convicted of any serious offences, and he's not been a director of 2 or more companies that have been run into the ground. Now, what may seem a deterrent, or it may or may not, is the registration fees for this particular structure are much higher than one would expect to find as under a sole trader business structure. Comparatively, in comparison to a large proprietary company, this structure, the registration fees are much lower, and even more so lower than, say, a public company. Now, the plus side of registering the proprietary company, or this particular structure, is that upon the formation of the company, the company assumes this company becomes a separate legal entity. It assumes a legal personality, if you will, and in which it is able to sue, it is able to be sued, and it is able to hold property, and is able to dispose of property. So the effect of this is, which I will make known to Donald, is that upon the registration or the formation of this particular company, the business will immediately become the property of the companies. Now, it is irrelevant that Donald is the only director. Now, it is also relevant that Donald is the only director and only member of the company. The business, the property of the business will be that of the companies. Now, it is also recommended that this particular structure be one that is limited by shares. And what I'm alluding to here is the concept of limited liability. Now, what this means is, should this particular company take an unfortunate turn in the future or come into debt and it was unable to pay, the creditors would be able to access the company and access all that is within the company and nothing more. Therefore, Donald would only stand to lose the shares that were invested in the company, and that is the limit that he's going to lose. Hence, the term limited liability. Now, it also, I believe, this is where it intersects. The concept of limited liability intersects with a separate legal entity. Is that because a separate legal entity is able to hold and dispose of its own property, one might assume that it would be unable to compel its own members to use their own personal property to assist it in climbing out of its own debt. Now, in terms of the shares, well, the shares is what Donald would have. He would have his personal interest, or they would be a proprietary interest in the company. But it also should be reminded to Donald that from the case of Macara, that the personal interest or a holding of shares in the company does not equate to an equitable interest in the company. The company is its own. But the results of this, of the intersection or the interplay between the concept of limited liability and the separate legal entity, is that the personal assets of the individuals and the members behind the company are not exposed to the creditors as it would under a unlimited liability scenario were he to undertake the sole trader business path. So it acts as much of a safeguard to that effect. Now, the concept of the separate legal liability, as confirmed in the Salomon case, now it held that it was more than valid for an individual to form a corporation as a means to avoid a future contractual obligation or future liability. Now, if a person were to form a corporation as a means to avoid, or as a device to avoid an existing and present liability, as in the case of Lipman and Gifford case, Well, the courts would see it fit to reach their judicial hand in through the legal personality or the corporate shield and deal with the individuals behind it and the corporation accordingly. Now, Donald has expressed that he has no existing contractual liabilities. He's also intimated that he cannot foresee any future liabilities or future contractual obligations that he can anticipate. So in saying that, and in closing, the simplicity of this particular structure and the protection offered by this particular structure, which would be one that I would wholeheartedly recommend to Donald. It would align with his interests. It would give him full autonomy of running this structure. And now setting up, he would not be required to compile his own constitution. He would be beholden to the special rules under the Corporations Act. I'll also advise him that the reporting requirements are the least stringent under this particular structure in comparison to the larger proprietary companies and the public companies. Now, in terms of raising equity finance or raising capital, the only real issue I see here is that it should be made known to Donald that in terms of raising the equity finance or the capital, under this particular structure, he is unable to solicit financial investment from the outside public. The shares are only able to be the distribution of the shares are only able to be between the members and the employees in a quite incestuous sense. So given that he intends to only have himself under his own employ, may be somewhat of a deterrent factor, given that I understand that him utilising a very tech-heavy type approach in his business, he may have to find expenses to replace particular techware to repair, or given the current climate of technology these days, the immediacy of it becoming on the shelves, and then within 2 weeks or so it becoming obsolete, and then Donald having to replace it. But other than that, I would wholly recommend this model to Donald, and feel that it is one that would protect all his interests and give him one that is easy to set up and maintain. So this concludes my reporting back to you, sir, and I appreciate the time. Have a pleasant day.